What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Yakertees. This is your review for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and this is the reunion part 4. Really quickly, couple things. One, boys, just woke up, so yeah. Hopefully, as we get through it, y'all get the voice that y'all are accustomed to, but this is the natural voice. Deal with it. Also, yeah, yesterday, did some running through downtown Chicago, had stuff to do. But by the time nighttime hit, I don't know why, it just felt like a Tuesday night, and that's why the review didn't happen. And then I wake up this morning like, wait a minute, today is Thursday. Shit, yesterday was Wednesday, so here we are. So with all that being said, I'll do the review. It's just I want to take minimal notes, but it's going to be a lot of pause, play, pause, play, pause, play action. So let's get into this, shall we? So we pick up what we left off, and Andy asks Erica, "Okay, look, you have pretty much been fucked up to your friends. You're biting their heads off and all this other stuff." And she's like, "Okay, well, if you're accused of the same things that I've been accused of, then what?" He's like, "I would be furious." He was like, "Exactly." He's like, "But you're lashing out at your friends, though, and they're only asking reasonable questions." And the other part of this that I don't think he mentioned, because again, I'm pausing and playing and all that good jazz, is you didn't have to answer any of these questions. You could hit them with, "This is all, legal, and I can't speak on it right now." There you go. There you go. But you wouldn't have had a storyline. This season would have been boring. We get all of that. So Erica is saying that she hasn't isolated anybody out. Andy's like, "Okay, but do you see what you just did to Crystal?" And she's literally doing her best to defend why that is, because she's like, "Well, she said I wasn't angry enough." And here's the reality: of all the time we have seen her on camera, she hasn't been mad at Tom. We all know why, but she hasn't been mad at Tom. You are literally mad at Crystal because she said it didn't come off as you being mad enough from what. And here's the thing: not just what she displayed. Let me phrase that. Not only what we were shown this season, but what she's displayed, meaning everything that wasn't shown that they were a part of. You didn't show this anger, yet you're upset with me because I asked you one flimsy question. Okay, come on now, make it make sense. But also, it's one of those things where, and this is not defending Erica, but when it comes to people being upset, they tend to go for an easy target, especially if they know someone's personality and how far they can go with them. So a lot of the times it's a deflection where I can't. And she could have said, "I've been mad," but honestly, because I know I cannot lash out at him for X, Y, and Z, who the hell is texting? I inadvertently took that and the first chance I got, pushed it off on somebody else and used that to attack somebody else when that had nothing to do with them, which is something we as humans do a lot. Where we'll be upset with somebody, where it's just like you might be upset with your parents, with your partner, your mate, your spouse. I really can't say kid because most people lash out at their kids, but or better yet, your boss, and you cannot go off on them for obvious reasons. So the very next person you run into, whether it be your children or your partner, if you can go at them, you're giving. As soon as you see something wrong or they say something slightly wrong, you use it as an opportunity to funnel all that anger, aggression, and vitriol into this particular conversation. It happens a lot. We do it a lot. Y'all gonna get a little extras because I feel bad that I didn't get y'all this review last night. So this review probably gonna be longer than expected while I'm sipping on my coffee. So we're pretty much getting a whole lot of the ring around the rosy talk in terms of what's going on. Um, we're still on her and her tone and how she comes at people. And she had mentioned when they were at, I believe she said Cal's house, how her tone and everything was real low. Like it was just man, and then did you notice in the times and blah 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 blah. She probably was high. Let me not say high. She probably took something to help ease the pain and keep her even and kill. Cause that ain't liquor. That well, it could be liquor, but that wasn't liquor. Um, and she said how people, are saying this, saying that, saying the devil's coming knocking and whatnot. And now Dorit pipes up because again, Dorit needs time. I kind of feel bad because Garcelle really hasn't been saying much the last couple of episodes because her reel has already happened. So she's not butting in, which I appreciate it, but it's like, you need to make a little bit of noise. But you have Dorit trying to, say, okay, well, look, she ain't your friend. She ain't that damn close to you. Which is weird because even though she wasn't that close, she was doing a lot for Erica at the very beginning of this season more than any of the other women. So Sutton wasn't being fake, not one bit. But you have to reset, but she's not that close to you. And Erica hit up with a 1-2, like, but you are, and you and your husband was setting up kiki cat at my situation. Hold up. Hold now, y'all just heard me say I need Garcelle to speak up. Oh, okay, so we finna get to that in a moment. So they're going not necessarily do, but they're still rehashing a lot of the beginning pieces in terms of the sit down that happened. And Erica's upset because like, well, I should have been there. And they show that she said that she was leaving the next day, and they even mentioned it. No one now. Last episode, Sun said she ran because she did, but Erica's like, well, you should have had me there. Now Garcelle piped up because this is one of those where when people pipe up, it's like it should be within reason. Because the reason that Erica said that she was leaving is because of what Garcelle said, which for me was just smoke screen and a scapegoat, just a reason to leave. So her whole thing is, I asked you a question that upset you, you left. It doesn't make sense to come and bring you back into the fold to literally discuss something because it was within a couple of days of that trip. So it was real fresh. It doesn't make sense to sit here and bring you back in when you literally just had a hissy fit and you're mad at me because I asked a question. This ain't gonna make you feel any better. And I should have just took a picture and then inserted her. Cause the look that she gave Garcelle was nasty. It was one of those like, I know you lying. Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna try to do it. It's gonna be a little fuzzy, but I'm gonna try to do it. So first of all, let me see. This is the look that she gave Garcelle after Garcelle asked that question. So that's that first of all. Okay, so Andy asked if any of well, first he asked Erica. No, I'm sorry. A viewer asked, when did she know that Tom was having financial problems? Since all she uses is credit card. She said 2020, when she was doing Broadway. Okay. And then Andy asked if any of the other women have heard that Erica, was having, well, there were financial issues. And then you had now see Kyle. I don't like Kyle. Kyle, I don't like her. But in this particular instance, I was here for the bullshit because she was like, well, I heard something, don't know if it was true, but Andy, me and you, knew from the same, knew the same exact thing. Threw him all the way above, like, oh, fuck it, but that was a track that just threw it. And Erica's like, okay, well, what did you hear, Auntie? And he was like, yeah, we heard it from the same person. And I'm shocked this actually made it in because the Bethany Frankel podcast addressing this matter dropped right after they stopped filming the reunion. So kind of shocked. Kind of shocked. See, Ren is with the ish, and she is doing her best to stay in Erica's good graces because she was asked, I forget who the person was from a previous season that had posted on Twitter that she normally wears waterproof mascara. And it's convenient that during her hike with Kyle that she did not have that on, so it looked like she was going for, the sympathy vote. And she was like, I have allergies this and the third. That one day I forgot to put it to put it on. And that's just that on that. And she also said she doesn't care about anybody that's not currently on this season saying something. But then you have Lisa Rinna saying, "Oh, well, you have, different makeup people, so maybe one of them." You're trying to help, but she literally just said that she was putting on her own mask. Lisa Rinna, sit down. So Andy brings up the fact that she has already stated that, more or less currently, she is conversing with Tom since he's been in the home and all the other stuff. So he asked her, so then what was the issue when Garcelle brought it up? During the scene, with her blowing up. And she was like, well, because Andy was just like, because you were mic'd and everything was being recorded. She was like, no, 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 I was mic'd, but the cameras were down. You were still mic'd. And her thing is, if that got out, people could easily spin the narrative that, well, he's calling her, they're in cahoots, they're comparing stories, blah, blah, rah, rah. And she was like, that's why she blew up at Garcelle because, that wasn't meant for the camera. But at the same exact time, you are mic'd. You are mic'd. And for those of y'all who don't kind of understand, go back to the very first episode of this season of Salt Lake City, and you can clearly see, because it took me a second, because I don't know what I was thinking. I spaced when I was talking about that on Really BTV's channel, Catch Me There Tonight. But you can see all of the women are mic'd. They have not yet started recording per se, but there still is a camera that's going. So because they're mic'd, there is a camera that is on that is catching everything, but they're not officially recording. And even if they're not recording visual, you're still mic'd. That is still being recorded. And Erica's no spring chicken. She's not. So she could have waited until everything went down, or should I say everything went cold, to have that conversation. She just chose not to. But she's mentioned that she's talked to him. It's sad. She wishes him well. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, and it's one of those where you can still, even though she's not necessarily angry with him, but you can be angry with someone. But if there was love there may still be a bit of compassion when somebody is going through. Me personally, I don't really have it much. Because when I'm done with you, yeah, I don't give a fuck what happens. You can get hit by a bus. Damn, that's unfortunate. I know I'm a horrible person, but that's okay. This is why you love me. Now, look, I done gave y'all almost 15 minutes worth of stuff, and we ain't got to, now we're at the first commercial. Let me go ahead and take her off my screen. Hold on. Boom. All right. So she's asked if, she has confronted Tom, more or less recently since they're now conversing. And she was like, I asked him, and it appears from first glance how they were showing it that she was trying to make up a lie. Now, the way that it panned out, it was one of those where she's about to answer it, but now she's getting choked up and emotional, trying to show her acting chops. No, you're using this as a way to sit here and try to figure out what can I sit here and say and spin to where it stays on script, but I don't sit here and because you like. I asked him what why would you? It was that whole thing of why would you leave me? Why would you leave me with millions of dollars and these suits pointed at me? F out of here. And with the waterworks, she also states that even her asking, did you do this or whatnot, she can't believe anything that he says because he's incompetent. And you can clearly see that she is still trying to provide him a defense, if you will. Yeah. She's asked about the 20 million, and she says that was not dumped into her account, and that she throws out 14 million, but she says that has been over the course of, I think she said maybe 6 years or whatever. what's it 6? I no 7 years. 7 years. That's over the course of 7 years. So that's pretty much 2 million a year, which she's like for everybody up here. I mean, that's equivalent to the lifestyle that everybody up here, quote unquote, lives. And she said, even with the case, the firm is in bankruptcy. I am not, and this is going to be picked apart. And if that's the case, if funds were misappropriated, are they going to sit here and dial back? Or I guess what she's saying is, after everything is uncovered, are they going to go to each individual lawyer, secretary, and everybody else and take back what was given to them? So this is her. It's kind of messed up because it's just like, okay, F it. I'm gonna throw the firm under. I'm not gonna throw my soon-to-be ex-husband under, but I'm gonna throw the firm under. If I'm going down with this sinking ship, everybody going down. I see what you're doing. So I I totally forget exactly what was asked, but pretty much it was just, did Erica know the wrongdoings and everything? Her saying that she knows the mental decline within the last 3 years, yet the LA Times said that Tom's crimes extended way past 3 years. And she was like, well, this is what I know. And then she made a good point. She really did. If I knew all of this was going on, why would I be on a reality TV show? But you have people that are narcissistic that feels that they're never going to get caught. So it just is what it is. So I don't know. And Sutton was asked about somebody leaving Tom's firm because of shady business. She was like, well, this is just something that I heard, don't know it to be facts. And then Erica's like, so with that being said, if you don't have evidence to back up what you're saying, don't put it out there. Because something like this could help me. And again, everything is me, when it comes to Erica. So, yeah, like she has some points, not a whole lot of them. So now we're at the we're at a piece to where Rena is actually in the midst of it, and again, it makes sense. So, not Erica. Rena is pretty much saying like, we need to not, if we want this sisterhood to work, pretty much, we need not say nothing behind people's back. And Annie looked at her like, really? And Bravo read all of the different instances of Rena talking behind someone's back and not saying that to people's face, and it's obviously being recorded, so it'll get picked apart later. And she was like, "Well, I know better than anybody," and and Garcelle was just like, if you're trying to sit here and protect Erica, why were you pushing Sutton to say something to Erica that was going to pretty much send her off? And Rena was like, so you had Sutton over here saying, well, if she walked in right now, I would say it to her face. So when we were all together, it's like, well, here she is, say it to her face. Now, again, for those of us who watch reality television, Rena ain't have a storyline. So the reason that she did it is she's inserting herself into something. She is trying to help create a moment where, even though she's not necessarily involved in the moment, she was the kindling that helped this fire to start. So when the producers are looking back at the footage to see who they can bring back, she may not have had a storyline, but she helped to set up some stuff. And they might bring her back just because Rena is known to be an itch starter. So as they're, talking and, going through the whole thing, because a viewer pretty much pointed out that the only people that really spoke up were uh, Sutton and Garcelle. So what about everybody else? And we really did not truly go down that rabbit hole. And Garcelle turns to Sutton and asks, okay, well, did you get an apology yet? Now, Erica, see, this is one of those where I appreciate the realness of the moment, but this is also one of those where, Erica, you might want to be quiet because you're in the hot seat. So the more that you engage, granted, you're giving us content, you're giving us something to watch, you further put yourself in a situation to where somebody could say something else and you get choked up. But she was like, what did you say? And Garcelle asked, "Did you apologize to her?" She said, "For what? Because you threatened her." Now, what Erica said, now what she said in the scene is not what she just gave us, but I understand what she gave us. She was like, "What I was saying is, if you stay on these shows long enough, everybody goes through their stuff, and everybody and people go through stuff every day. But what she's saying is, you will become the focal point for that particular season. Everybody has their day. You could have yours next season. So when you have yours, and if I'm still on the show, pretty much my foot gonna be on your post. I'm not gonna give you the grace that I was asking for." Now they're saying that's not how it came. Granted, I appreciate the realness of that damn statement. Son, I hope you don't go through that next year. Not too big. But they pretty much let her know, like, but that's not how it came off. Hold on. Ooh, 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 ooh. I forgot to, I forgot to hit pause over there first. Hopefully that wasn't enough for Bravo to come for this video, even though it is what it is. But we get to a point where someone had did a tweet showing 4 different pictures of Erica going that sudden and said, "Not once did any of you ever call her a bully." And Andy points out that Garcelle retweeted and said, "Thank you." And Garcelle was just like, she was being a bully, but to this day it haunts me because I felt like I should have said something and that I didn't. And he was like, "What would you have said?" She's like, enough, done something to de-escalate the situation. Now, I got 2 things to say. The first thing is, you can see some of the other women, primarily Erica and Dorit, with a look on their face, which I'm just like, see, I'm loving that they catching the looks because it says a whole lot. Where, yeah, so you don't want this woman. I'm gonna just keep. You don't want this woman to say nothing, huh? But at the same exact time, I understand where Garcelle is coming from because we can even say the same thing when it comes to Sutton, where sometimes when you are in the midst of something happening that is like chaotic, it's a train wreck, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? Sometimes it's almost like an out of body experience. Like, what is going on here? And you don't always jump in when you should, and then when you look back, it's like, dang, I probably should have said something. And it's not even out of fear. It's just like, is this really going on right now? And you're trying to process it as it's going on. Because let's be honest, Garcelle is not one where she, to an extent, because I still don't like that she didn't check the read in the moment. I guess she had her redemption on Watch What Happens Live, but for the most part, she's not afraid to ask a difficult question. Like, if she could sit here and talk about Paris Hilton to Kathy Hilton, I'm pretty sure Garcelle can sit here and say whatever it is that she wants to say. Ooh, excuse me, just saying. So I'm skipping through some of this because a lot of this stuff is just like, okay, and it's wearing me out. And I just woke up and I have energy. I need to make another pot of coffee though. But you have Erica pretty much telling Sutton that the way that she came off, she was a see you next Tuesday, being itchy and all this other stuff. And, she didn't like being called a liar, bibbity bobbity boo. So then Sutton was just like, okay, but when we was in Del Mar, you pretended to be my friend. So the fact that you did that and you're showing me something else, you are a liar. And Eric was like, how about I just played you? Which I'm just like, okay. I mean, the played you part would make more sense if she said she was playing her at the beginning of the season, but okay, Erica, do you? So now we're diving into the validity of the car accident story. And Sutton is still standing by the fact that you lied. And this is one of those, and she was even saying that you not revealing certain pieces to protect someone, we understand that. It's still a lie, but we understand it. And had you just been forthcoming about that, it would be different. Eric was like, you weren't in the group when I mentioned it. She's like, but you still retold the story. And it just is what it is. And Erica is kind of not even kind of tap dancing around the whole protection thing because that's what it is. And I mean, dang nabbit, we can argue if leaving out bits and pieces of information is truly lying. Where it's just like, I told you what happened, yeah. But some people do say, oh, omission is still lying. So, man, debatable. But at the same exact time, I'll be honest. Everyone doesn't need to know every detail of a story. But at the same exact time, with the whole omission, with it being a lie, like me, I don't do this. Like I'm gonna tell you a story of what the hell happened with something, because most people don't want to be wrong or be like, oh, like retelling the story. Most of my friends know if I tell you a story, that's what happened. Because they didn't told me sometimes like, nah, yeah, you was wrong for saying that. Like I don't care. I said what the hell I said. Well, what we gonna do? I can't take it back. I ain't taking it back. I said what I said in that moment. And I meant what I said in that moment. I may not feel that way now, but I said what I said in that moment. Sue me. I don't care. But you have people that they will intentionally tell a story, remove pieces, and then kind of finesse what they're telling to get sympathy. That ain't me, but yeah. Okay, she lied. So we're really digging into Rena. With the whole saying things that shouldn't be said, and kind of calling her out on that, because they brought up distinct things of, well, this was some treacherous, excuse me, stuff that you said with the whole Munchausen when it came to Yolanda. And she was like, yeah, I really regret that. I wish I could have taken that back, and da 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 da. I don't believe it, because she did that for a check. And I'm not sure, and somebody please correct me in the comments, but I think she was also somewhat friends with Yolanda. I'm not, and I'm talking about before the show. I could be wrong. 'Cause I know she was friends with Denise. I know she was friends with Garcelle, or associates, whatever. They've known each other for quite some time. I think the same thing happened with Yolanda, but she was willing to do something for a paycheck. It is what it is. But she said she apologized for that. Then Kim, she was like, yeah, that was wrong. And she has to pick her words correctly when it comes to Kim, because Kim's two sisters are sitting on the other couch, and one of them is the queen bee of the show. So you don't do too much. She was like, I would like to think that helped, and that's now hold on, but she said she takes it back. Hold on. Cal and Kathy, y'all ain't ish. Y'all really not. I wish the hell I wish the hell I would sit up and somebody say, well, I would like to think that I would, when I tell you, I would have gave them a damn show. Like, what you not finna do is you not finna play in my damn face. I don't care how cool we'd have been this whole damn season. That is my sibling. We not finna do it. Because at that point I would have been like, okay, well let's talk about this. Well, let's talk about see. I would have wore that ass out. This is just this is I would have wore that ass out right quick. You're not gonna sit here and say, oh, you think lying on my sibling, saying that they are this close to dying, in some way help them? Oh, you let me okay. Because I was about to sit here and actually give y'all a damn moment. I am not doing that. I am not doing that. Who was the other person that got brought up? Denise. And what was so funny about the whole Denise question is when Denise asked her a question, who told you that, oh, you so angry? When people do stuff like that, it's just like, because you have no evidence of what it is that you said. Man, look, okay. Ooh, excuse me. So, I believe it was a fan. Could have been Annie. Doesn't really matter. Because I don't believe that all these fan questions are actually fan questions, especially when he gets these fan questions from Twitter. And I think what would help in us believing that these are actually fan questions is you post the actual the tweet with the people's information. Nevertheless, was kind of asking, like, well, not asking, but saying that Sutton was a good friend to her. And one thing that I don't like that Erica does is quick to interject before letting a full statement come out. And I'm gonna not say that. I don't want to show my hand. But it's very upset. She was like, yes, she was. And I was so upset when she blipped on me. And Sutton is trying to defend herself. It's like, I was trying to talk to you. She was like, well, you said you didn't want to see me. And it's one of those where, though that was said, it's like you're trying to take a moment and move it right here where she was willing to have a conversation. But yes, when everything was fresh, it was just like, I don't know about this. And of course, conversations can't be had off camera. I mean, let's just be honest. And then she's like, well, somebody please bat me that. So that's where that particular piece came in. And all of them say she did say that. But again, everything within context and all this other stuff. And Erica is draining. She is draining. And Andy just kind of smiles, and she's like, why are you smiling? He's like, because you are a piece of work. Andy is not lying. So you have Erica trying to clear up the accident story. I'm not going to go into the details of that because, again, a lot of it is just completely too far fetched for me. So I'm not doing that. Um, at one point, Andy asked her, "Did you try to use the Find My Phone thing to track Tom?" Because she said his phone went dead after getting a little bit of information. And she's like, he has a flip phone, keep up. Again, I don't think him having a flip phone, I can believe. I don't think he just has a flip phone. But that's just me, nevertheless. But as she's trying to tell some of the story, Frito Lay's pipes in to ask a question and she chops her head off. And Garcelle jumps in like, this is the reason that we don't want to ask you questions because of this right here. As soon as a question is asked, now to her defense, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of the story, and typically when people are in the middle of a story and something pops out, people do want to jump in. Got it. Because just for clarity purposes. But hey, it is what it is. She's in the hot seat, but yeah, she has a knack for chopping people's heads off. So Andy says he has to go back to the whole victims thing, and and I feel like he's somewhat trying to coach her to help her because again, the social media doesn't really help. But she says that she does help the victims by cooperating with authorities and whatnot as she gets information. She gives it this, that, and the third, and they're like, and Dorit again. This is her trying to stay on the show. But she pretty much made a point where if you would say that, you could get more sympathy from everybody else. She was like, well, I just said it. Because that's Erica's whole thing is, I'm saying it now, but it's, if you've been saying this the whole time, things would have, looked differently. But, it's just, but she's saying, my lawyers have been saying it, this, that, and the third. But, I don't know. I'm not. I'm tired of dealing with the whole Erica thing. Let me get through the last, I guess what, maybe like 10 minutes, so I could be done. Y'all could be done, cause I ain't gave y'all a long ass review like this in a hot minute. All right, so to go ahead and wrap this up. So one, Andy stated that he's glad that Erica was able to express pretty much how she felt when it came to the victims, which Andy, for those that he likes, he does provide that opportunity. And again, even though he was asking tough questions because he was forced to, doing his best to help guide her. Because again, he does that for the people that he likes. He really does. And you see that's what he was trying to get out of her. I wonder if Erica got something on Andy. Moving on. So final thoughts. It was only two that I really wanted to touch on. And Sutton was asked if she had one redo, what would it be? Erica face crack, but because she was like with Crystal, I wish I would have just sat there and listened. And that is very important because even in that moment, I think we all agreed when Sutton piped up, it was just naturally you are a part of the conversation. You didn't even have to interject and say anything. And that's one thing that people need to understand, especially when it's tough conversations being had. Sometimes the best thing to do is just sit there, sip your drink, eat your food, just shut up. So I appreciate that. But had that happened, granted, we probably wouldn't have got a whole lot from Crystal. And, well, Sutton ended up giving when it came to the Erica thing, so Sutton would have still been there. And with Garcelle, he asked if she feels as if she's a part of the group. And she's like, I do now. I don't believe you, Garcelle. But she said, I do now. She doesn't know what it was, but she does now. And at the same exact time, she did not come into the reunion expecting anything like that. So we shall see. One question I want to ask all of you is, given the information that we have, who do you think the target is going to be for next season? Let me know your thoughts on that. But again, y'all have not gotten a review this long from me in a long while. But here we are. So thank you all so much for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all for the next video, whatever that video is. But make sure you go to Really Be TV's channel tonight. At a minimum, it'll be she and I. We might have little baby up there. We might even have Josiah World's TV. You don't know, but be there because we gonna sit here and we gonna cut the food because this episode gave us a lot. You know, I mean, you can tell by how long this dang on review is. But I love you all. I'll see you all later. Peace out.